All right, so, you've raised your kids, they're out the door, and now you're thinking, what's next? You're probably starting to think about retirement.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big shift. And for a lot of people, it means some pretty big financial questions too.
Exactly, and that's what we're diving into today. We found this great article called 12 Empty Nesters to Retirement, Where You Should Be Financially.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. It's from Obsidian A. Freeman, right?
Yep. Part of Facioli Publishing's Newborn to Tombstone series, kind of like a whole roadmap of money stuff from literally birth to, mm, you know.
Makes sense. Got a plan for all of it.
Right. And this article zeroes in on this exact spot we're talking about. Like, okay, kids are gone, retirement's getting real. What should our money be doing?
A lot of people find themselves in that spot feeling a little lost.
I bet. So we're going to pull out the most useful stuff from this article, make it super clear and practical. No financial mumbo jumbo.
Sounds good. A good plan.
So, first things first, let's talk budget. I mean, think about it. Your kids are gone. That's a whole chunk of change that was going towards them,
Well,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
All that money for college, for extracurriculars, even just feeding them every day, it adds up.
Right. So suddenly you've got some breathing room in your budget. And that's a powerful thing, right?
Oh, for sure. And the article really emphasizes that this is a prime opportunity.
To do what? I mean, where does that money go?
Well, the article suggests a few things. Maybe beef up your retirement savings, finally pay off any nagging debts, or maybe just, enjoy yourself a little. Take that trip you always wanted, or pick up a new hobby.
Love that. But they also mentioned this thing called a retirement budget stress test, right?
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
What is that exactly? Like, how do you actually do that?
Basically, try to live for a month or two on what you think your retirement income will be.
Ah, so basically live like you're already retired for a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can really highlight if you're overestimating your income or underestimating your spending, right?
That's smart. Find out now while you can still adjust things.
Right. And don't forget to consider how your lifestyle might change in retirement. You might travel more, pick up hobbies that cost money, even think about moving somewhere with a different cost of living.
Yeah, all of those things can impact your budget. Okay, so we've got our budget somewhat figured out. Let's talk about actually saving for retirement. I bet most folks listening are familiar with the usual suspects like 401ks and IRAs.
Absolutely. And the article stresses the importance of maximizing contributions to those, especially if you're over 50. You can take advantage of those catch-up contributions.
Yeah, put in even more each year to catch up. And it's crazy how many people miss out on employer matching in their 401k. That's like free money.
I know, right? It's leaving money on the table. And for those with high deductible health plans, don't forget about health savings accounts, those HSAs. They have this triple tax advantage.
Yeah, you contribute pre-tax, the money grows tax deferred, and then you can withdraw it tax-free for medical expenses in retirement. Like a secret weapon for retirement savings.
Pretty much. Okay, so budget sorted, we're saving like champs. Now let's talk about investments.
Right. Those portfolios we've been building all these years, how do those need to change as retirement gets closer?
Well, the article says as you get closer to retirement, it's often wise to shift your investments a bit. Maybe move away from super high risk, high growth stuff and into things that are a little more stable and generate income.
Makes sense. You don't want to be taking huge risks when you're about to rely on that money.
Right. And the article talks about diversifying your income sources too. Things like annuities, rental income if you own property, or investments that pay dividends.
So spread your risk, have multiple ways to generate income in retirement. Smart.
Definitely. And one thing that's so important but people often overlook is investment fees. Even small fees can eat away at your returns over time, so pay attention to those.
Fees are sneaky little things. All right, let's move on to Social Security. I know everyone's got questions about when to start taking it.
It's a big decision for sure. The article says delaying your benefits even until your full retirement age, or maybe even later, until age 70, can really bump up your monthly payments.
Wow, so waiting longer can actually mean more money each month.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. You got to think about how long you expect to live and weigh that against getting more money later on. And if you're married, make sure you understand spousal and survivor benefits.
Those can get pretty complicated.
They can. But it's crucial for maximizing your benefits as a couple and protecting the surviving spouse. Okay, now let's talk about something that nobody really wants to think about, healthcare and long-term care.
It's not the most fun topic, but definitely important.
Yeah, the article emphasizes making sure you have good health insurance before you're eligible for Medicare at 65, and long-term care insurance. That can protect you from the huge costs of assisted living, nursing homes, or even just in-home care.
It's easy to forget how expensive that stuff can be until you need it.
Exactly. Okay, now let's talk debt. The article is pretty clear on this one. Aim for a debt-free retirement. Get rid of those high-interest credit card balances and personal loans.
Sounds good in theory, but sometimes easier said than done.
I know. But it's worth it for peace of mind. And when it comes to your mortgage, the article says it's a bit trickier. If you've got a low interest rate, you might actually be better off investing that money instead of paying off the mortgage early. It really depends on your individual situation.
Yeah, it's a balancing act between being debt-free and potentially getting better returns on your investments. Now, let's talk about estate planning. That's basically making sure your wishes are clear and your loved ones are protected, right?
Exactly. And the article says make sure your will is up to date and reflects your current situation. And set up those powers of attorney. You need both financial and medical power of attorney.
So someone can make decisions for you if you can't.
Right. And trust can be helpful too. They can protect your assets, potentially reduce estate taxes, and make sure things are handled according to your wishes. And this seems like a no-brainer, but it's so important. Make sure all your beneficiary designations are up to date on your financial accounts and insurance policies.
That's easy to overlook. Now let's talk about housing. For empty nesters, that big family home might not make sense anymore.
Yeah. Downsizing or even moving to a more affordable area can free up a ton of money for retirement. If you want to stay put, think about making those aging-in-place modifications like grab bars or making it all one level. And if you've got a vacation home, factor in all those costs.
Those can sneak up on you. Taxes, everyone's favorite topic.
But the article's right. It's super important. Have a plan for how you'll withdraw money from your various retirement accounts. Think about things like Roth conversions. And if you're into charitable giving, look into those qualified charitable distributions from IRAs.
So many different ways to approach taxes.
There are. But getting it right can save you a lot of money. Okay, now let's pull it all together. Time to build that retirement income plan.
The big picture stuff.
Exactly. First, figure out how much you'll need each year. And remember, inflation. That can really eat away at your purchasing power. Then, figure out your income. Social Security, pensions, withdrawals from your accounts, anything else you've got coming in. The goal is to make sure your income covers your expenses. The article even mentions the 4% rule,
Yeah, withdraw 4% of your investments each year. A good starting point.
Definitely.
Yep.
But remember, it's just a guideline. Now, even with the best plan, you need an emergency fund.
Always. Life throws curveballs.
Exactly. Aim for 6 to 12 months of living expenses tucked away somewhere safe and accessible. That way, if something unexpected happens, you don't have to touch your long-term investments.
Having that cushion can make a big difference. What about insurance? Does that change in retirement?
It can. The article says you might not need as much life insurance once your kids are grown and you've paid off debts. But review your policies to be sure. And an umbrella policy can be a good idea for extra liability protection. And Medicare. Get ready for that. Research your options for supplemental plans.
Don't forget about Medicare. It can be a bit of a maze. And speaking of change, retirement doesn't always mean stopping work completely, right?
Nope. Some people transition gradually with part-time work or consulting. And the article suggests thinking about turning those hobbies you love into something that generates income.
That's a fun idea. Get paid for doing something you enjoy. And what about all that free time? Time for travel and fun stuff, right?
For sure. Start setting aside money specifically for travel, hobbies, all the things you want to do. Make sure you budget for those fun things so you can really enjoy retirement.
It's not all about spreadsheets. It's about living your best life, right?
Exactly. Now, one thing people sometimes forget is to talk to their families. Be open with your kids about your financial situation and your plans for inheritance.
That can save a lot of headaches down the road.
And if you want to help with things like grandkids' education, build that into your plan. Now, if all of this seems a bit overwhelming, the article recommends getting professional help.
It's a lot to think about for sure.
Talk to a financial advisor. Find one who's a fiduciary. That means they have to put your interests first. And for estate planning, get an estate attorney involved. They can make sure everything's legal and done right.
Having expert advice can make a huge difference. Now, beyond all the numbers, the article also talks about the emotional side of retirement.
It's a big change. Figure out how you'll spend your time. Explore new hobbies, volunteer maybe, and prepare yourself mentally for this new chapter. It might be longer than you think.
It's not just about the money, it's about enjoying a long, happy, and fulfilling retirement. Wow, we covered a lot today. We talked about budgets, saving, investing, healthcare, estate planning, even the emotional side of retirement.
And don't forget taxes.
Oh, yeah, those two. But I think the main takeaway is that transitioning to retirement isn't something that just happens. It takes planning and effort.
Absolutely. But it's worth it.
So as you're thinking about this next stage, consider not just your financial security, but all the amazing opportunities it brings. Think about how you want to spend your time, who you want to be in retirement, what will your retirement look like? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a great conversation.
It has. Thanks for having me.